Okay, in today's lab, we are going to do two separate reactions, and we are going to try to make copper completely from scratch. I mean, not really from scratch, like out of nothing, but we're going to try to get it out of a compound. And so what we'll be left with is completely pure copper. For our first reaction, we're going to take the ionic compound copper 2 oxide, CuO, and we're going to react it with hydrochloric acid. Take a second and see if you can finish writing out the two products for this reaction in the correct states of matter. You've got a spot on your lab sheet to do this. I've set out the equipment that we're going to need as well as the chemicals. I've got our electronic balance. I've set out our hot plate for us. Why do they call it a hot plate? Because it's hot. And then I've grabbed a beaker, I've grabbed a stirring rod, and I've got my little plastic weigh boat for us. So we're all set up to do our very first reaction. Copper 2 oxide, it's an ionic compound, so it has a solid state of matter for us, and it's a black powder. So our goal, again, is to try to get out the pure copper. So we need to separate it from the compound. Copper 2 oxide can be pretty itchy, so we're going to try and be careful to not spill it on ourselves. But according to the directions, it says to obtain about 1 gram. Anytime directions say that, you don't need exactly 1 gram. We just would like it to be close to that. So I'm going to give it my best shot. Okay, here's how much I got. 1.10 grams, a little bit over. That's okay. On the lab sheet, you've got a spot to record the exact amount of copper 2 oxide that we're using. So take a second now and record that down. The other reactant that I needed to grab is the hydrochloric acid. The hydrochloric acid that I grabbed is called 1 molar hydrochloric acid. That's the concentration. And for 1 molar hydrochloric acid, we assume that about 1 milliliter is 1 gram. Here's a picture of the amount that I grabbed. So go ahead and write down the volume on your data table in your lab. And again, remember that 1 milliliter is about 1 gram of the hydrochloric acid. I put both reactants in a beaker and then I placed them on the hot plate. Notice how the acid went from clear and started to turn this greenish bluish color. I continually stirred and I left the reaction on the hot plate until I saw absolutely no black powder left. So that's a key thing for this reaction. There was 0 black powder left in the beaker. I'd like you to take a moment now while I wait for this beaker to cool down and try and determine what the limiting reactant is. So remember to find both the moles of the acid and the moles of the copper 2 oxide, and see which one makes the least amount of product. And we're going to try to keep track of the product that contains copper for us. Okay, so now our goal is to take that greenish bluish solution, which is the copper 2 chloride that's aqueous, and we are going to react it with zinc. What type of reaction is this? Once you've determined that, predict the products in this state of matter and record on your lab sheet. I grabbed some granular zinc for us to do with this lab. And like before with the black copper 2 oxide, the lab directions say to obtain about 1 gram of zinc. I did my best. Here's what I got, 1.22 grams of zinc. It's fine, I'm gonna go with it. Go ahead and record this amount of zinc on your lab sheet and your data table. I poured the zinc into the beaker and immediately it started reacting. All of the zinc clumped together and you can start to see bubbles forming. I continually tried to stir it up to break up the pieces of zinc. They got coated in the copper pretty quickly. Notice how it's all clumped together and still bubbling. Also look at how that greenish bluish color is starting to go away. Here it is after another minute. It's definitely starting to look like copper metal now. While I was waiting for the reaction to finish, I thought I would start getting ready to filter out the copper. I grabbed a plastic filtration funnel I grabbed my 250 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask and I grabbed a piece of filter paper. After I finish filtering it, the copper is going to be sitting in the filter paper, and it's going to be really hard to find just the mass of the copper. I can't like scrape it out because I'll lose some that'll be left in the filter paper. So what we do is we find the mass of the empty, dry filter paper. This piece is 1.57 grams. Go ahead and record this down on your lab sheet. I noticed my reaction starting to die down, and I was worried about some zinc being left behind, so I added a little bit more hydrochloric acid just to eat up any remaining zinc to ensure that what I'm left with at the end is just copper. Again, while I waited for the reaction to finish, I set up my filtration so it's ready to go. I folded the piece of filter paper in half and then in half again, and I placed it inside the funnel, and I placed the funnel on top of the Erlenmeyer flask. We use those flasks primarily for filtration because look at how nicely the funnel sits in it. And this is when I start to pour everything through the filter paper. One thing to keep in mind, I started by pouring most of the aqueous solution through the filter paper. To get all the copper out of the beaker, I use distilled water. Distilled water is always okay to kind of rinse things through. All right, check that action out. It's filtering. Looks like copper. Remember how the copper was sitting in that like bluish greenish solution? In case it didn't all react, I went ahead and I washed my copper. I'm also going to rinse off the filter paper too because I also added hydrochloric acid, and I just want to make sure all of that stuff is off. And so usually when we filter things, we go ahead and we wash it a couple times with distilled water just to rinse off any other aqueous compounds so they're not left drying on the solid copper that's there. I removed the filter paper and I placed it in a small little beaker, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of label it with my name, and usually in the lab we'd set this off to the side. Because I rinsed everything off with water and I had everything sitting in an aqueous solution, all of this is wet right now. So if I went to find the mass of the copper on the filter paper, it would be the mass of the copper and the water weight. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then I'll be left with just the mass of the copper. Okay, you can see my little clump of copper sitting in the filter paper. I've let it dry, and here is the final mass of the filter paper and the copper. So think about how you're going to find just the mass of the copper.